The Lightning and the Blackhawks are set to battle it out for the Stanley Cup in Game 1 of their series on Wednesday. And right now, I'm joined with expert NHL handicapper Dave Golikoff to break down the line movements we've seen so far on the matchup and what it can mean for your picks. Dave, can you explain to us how these lines have moved since they're open on Saturday and why you think we're seeing such movement?
Well, when you take a look at how the lines have moved so far, on the series we saw Chicago open as a -120 favorite. It climbed to -150, and now I've seen most recently at the Greek it's dropped down to -130. In my opinion, it's all sharp action at this point. I think that the public will maybe pile in, as they typically do, later on. But I think this is mostly sharp money moving these lines around. I think that the initial reaction was that Chicago looks so dominant on the road in Game 7. They have the experience. This is a team that looks like they're on a collision course for the Stanley Cup, and they're not going to be stopped. When you look at the lines, even though they don't have home ice advantage, you see a pick, and you're like, you probably got to bet the Blackhawks. But when it starts getting to the -150 range, I think that's sort of the cutoff. You start to realize that, you know what, this is a team that doesn't have home ice advantage. They have looked flawed at times, and who knows? I mean, they've been riding their four defensemen into the ground. Maybe this is a team that is going to run out of gas at some point. Remember, they played a ton of hockey the last few years too, so it's got to catch up with them at some point. Corey Crawford, bit of a question mark too. So I think that's a big factor. The other thing too is maybe scalping on the series. When Chicago gets to -150. You know, if Tampa Bay if Tampa Bay wins Game 1 and you have them on the series, you can probably sell it back at a pretty decent price. And when you take a look at the lines, they are favored to win Game 1. So I think some people are starting to say, okay, there's a little bit too much value here with Tampa Bay. So that's how the series line has moved around, in my opinion.
All right, so then, Dave, is this line movement showing us the right way to bet our money here? Should we be swimming against the current?
Well, I guess the current's gone both ways. So if you're asking me to drown, I don't know that that's the best idea, but I get what your question is. I think that the original current move was the right move. That's my opinion. I think that at -120, -130, I'm okay taking the Blackhawks. I'd obviously rather bet less, but when it starts getting to -150, it's a little bit too much. So I think that now that we're back in the -130 range, that's my cutoff, and I think that's my play. But again, when you're asking which movement would I buy into a little bit more, it's that initial one. I think that one is the one that makes more sense to me. I like the Blackhawks on this series, and I like them as long as the line doesn't go much higher than -130.
All right, now you said the Blackhawks on the series, but what about Game 1, Dave?
For Game 1, the line movement has, I guess it depends where you look, but I was checking Pinnacle. The line has gone in favor of Tampa Bay. I disagree with that one, to be honest. I think that Chicago's the play here. I think this is a Tampa Bay team that's been nervous at home throughout the playoffs. When you start to crunch the numbers, off the top of my head, I can't quite remember what. I think they allow 3.3 goals per game at home. I'm not sure if that's the exact number, but that's the second. I know that they're allowing the second most goals per game at home in the playoffs, and they're actually the best defensive team on the road, allowing the fewest goals per game at 1.6 on the road. So home has not been where the heart has been for Tampa Bay in the playoffs. They're just 5-5 after winning 31 games at home in the regular season. So I like Chicago as a road dog. I'd let this line climb if it continues to climb. But I think Chicago is the play here. They're going to be rested. They've got the experience. They've been here before. I think this is a good spot to take Chicago.
All right, you heard it first from SBR's expert handicapper, Dave Golikoff. Stick around as we keep bringing you the best selections and predictions for the Stanley Cup Final. And check out Dave's games total pick for the series we discussed today as well. Just follow those links below this video. And of course, for the best picks on the Stanley Cup Final, keep it locked right here with us at Sportsbook Review.